Okay, this is the Pacific War from GMT Games, and we're playing the full strategic campaign. This is the situation after the completion of the first 2 week Japanese operation at the start of the game in December 1941. Now, the thing to remember is there's still some active Japanese carriers, but these are the ones that attacked Pearl Harbor, and they're actually on a freebie. They've got a 30-day operation, which is a freebie, and you just have to be aware of them when you're playing the start of the game. We've got interesting point. I forgot how fiddly this game is. It's a good game, but it is incredibly sort of messy in terms of keeping a track of what units have done what in all the multiple different phases of the battle cycle and things like that. One thing I have noticed is there are nowhere near enough ops complete markers. I've had to cannibalize ops complete markers from another game, and I've also still run out, and I'm using units by turning them upside down to indicate their ops complete as well. I think this is only something that would affect the strategic campaigns, the big, the full strategic campaign, rather than the other scenarios. Because especially in this first month, there's a lot of stuff moving around, particularly Japanese stuff. One thing I did mess up several times is this crippled thing, that a ship becomes crippled when it's has a certain number of hits, but because when the ships that are crippled are usually active, and active ships can only go a maximum of 1 hex instead of 2 hex in a battle cycle movement phase. I missed the fact that both the Repulse and the Langley light carrier were both actually crippled and should have been sort of destroyed much earlier in the game. Prince of Wales have effectively said, no, sorry, the Repulse have effectively said was sunk, and the Langley have moved it to here on the basis that it might have got away with it. Instead of being able to get all the way to Java, which I actually did have it doing before I noticed when it got into port that it was actually crippled. It had been crippled shortly after it left Manila. If not, it could have been crippled at Manila. I can't remember, during an aerial raid. Right, so if we see how the actual game is paced, sort of played out, Japanese have got a very strong foothold in the Philippines. They've also got a very strong foothold in Malaya. They've moved into Burma, but they haven't got the forces to go very far in Burma, but they're effectively blocking the route which Allied forces from India and Burma could theoretically interfere in the Malaya operation. They've driven the British Navy, what little of it there was, out of the Singapore Straits. They've managed to capture Brunei, but the Allies were able to demolish the strategic resources in that hex, so they'll have to be rebuilt by the Japanese. Japanese also managed to snap up Rabaul. They did a successful attack on Pearl Harbor, which I've already described. They managed to capture Hong Kong. That's pretty much it. And so there's quite a lot of activity down south. There's a bit of activity with the Japanese submarine patrols. Did a little bit of damage on the Allied fleets as they were concentrating to return to Honolulu, probably much more than they did strategically, historically. So it's really operational bidding for the next part of the month, which is going to be another 2-week operation. And the Japanese have got far more points to bid, and there's also a solo bidding thing which I'm going to be using, because you can't, it's a way of sort of simulating the hidden bidding system that you have with the full game, the opposed game. One thing I did also forget was the fact that the sea zones that had squall up in the basically in the South Pacific, not really in the South Pacific actually, comes down and juts out over here. So at certain parts we weren't playing the squall search rules when we should have been. All in all, considering, I think that was a pretty good initial 2 weeks playthrough. I don't think I did too much radically wrong for me to say, oh, I ought to start that actually again. But it did take a lot of watching videos and reading the rule books to get anywhere near proficient with this system, which is a great system, but my God, it's complicated. Alright, I can't think of anything else I need to say at this particular stage.